I've actually been in the fishing industry professionally now since the early 2000s. And prior to that, I spent an enormous amount of time fishing regional, local, and even national tournaments. I've been guiding for 25 plus years. Using a baitcaster has always been a tool, and so many of my peers will ask me why. And a lot of the influence really came from the heroes that I had as I grew up. When you were watching television, because television was the #1 medium back then to watch anything on or learn about anything, the guys like Roland Martin, Jimmy Houston, Hank Parker Jr. in particular, and definitely Bill Dance, these were the guys that I watched on the weekends. A lot of those techniques and styles kind of bled into my saltwater fishing for trout and for redfish, and even snook really. What really sets it apart is when I've got a baitcaster in my hand, I know personally that I have a piece of equipment that in my own eyes is superior to a spinning reel. Not so much in casting distance at times, but in feel, in sensitivity, in lure speed control. To me, I can't get it out of my head. I feel like if I don't have my crutch, my casting reel, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. There are a number of advantages that I could list about fishing casting reels moreover than spinning reels. Probably #1 would be lure speed. Many times anglers don't really think about it, but when you make one handle turn on a spinning reel, that could be anything from 35 to 39 inches per handle turn that you're retrieving. That's a lot. That's a yard. So you're in and out of the strike zone very fast. If I'm using a casting reel, many times the line pickup is only 27, 28 inches per handle turn, up to like maybe 32, 33, depending on gear ratio. So lure speed, huge advantage. Accuracy with a casting rod setup is much superior because I'm able to use a shorter rod and make these pinpoint casts, backhanded, forehanded, over the top, sidearm. It gives me such a variety of ways to present a lure to a fish, no matter where he is between 10 and 2 o'clock in front of me. And then to me, the ability to palm the reel, have my finger where the line rolls over my index finger, have a rod that has a bare exposed blank underneath the reel seat that you wouldn't have with a spinning setup. I can feel every little pulse. I can feel the bottom, and I can feel that settle when a fish almost breathes on it or taps it. When I came over and started fishing with Bates Fishing Company, it was really kind of special because these guys were completely invested in building the best casting reel on the market today. I bought a hundo after being on the water with a client who's equally enthusiastic about using baitcasters as I am. Chris Mazinski gave me the opportunity to use that reel, and when he did, it changed everything. I went directly to my retailer and said, hey, I want you to order me 2 of these reels. After I used them, then I started investigating a little bit more into the Baits product line, and I saw that they had some different sizes. So then I ordered myself a goat. Then I got a salty because I started with the hundo. Now, when you look at these reels, you're thinking certainly these things are freshwater, sweetwater reels. They're not really salt reels. They're one-piece aluminum frames that are so nice and rigid. The tolerances are so tight. They have an incredible amount of drag for how small and how light they are. The dual matrix system that they have with the centrifugal brake and the magnetic brake make them easy to adjust and really easy to manage. After being with Baits for a year or so, they ended up dropping the salty hundo. And this is a 100 size reel that feels a lot like a 70 size reel. Palmable, smooth. And when they went into the salty hundo project, they actually built it with brass gear sets, and they gave it a lot more resistance to corrosion. So you didn't have to baby it nearly as much. But I still have like 15 regular hundos in the shop behind me that I use regularly with clientele, and none of them have failed. Sometimes I'm asked, special moments in time or in my film career or in my guiding that makes me think why I chose Baits to be the brand that I settled on. With all the experience I've had in this in my career, one of the poignant moments that I had was fishing with a guide that I have a ton of respect for. He's a first responder, Captain Rob Walzak, and we were fishing on one of the worst fishing days that we've ever had to deal with on a television show. And we're moving through some of the backcountry of the 10,000 islands around Goodland, Florida. And then he took me as the tide kind of flooded in. We got to a shoreline that was on the backside out of the wind, and there were some pockets in there, and I would take that casting reel, that 100 size hundo, and I would skip it in there, and it would just roll that bait so far back in there, and you could hear it ricocheting off prop roots, and we pulled some big uns out of that stuff. And he was like, I cannot believe you would choose a Baitcaster to skip lures over a spinning reel. And I explained to him how much control that you have with these reels because of their nominal size. You can adjust how much line you put on the spool so that you can make those nice smooth casts. I was like, and I've got 15 pounds of drag that I can lock down and pull this fish out. So if you made everything up perfectly, the right rod, the right line with the right lure on a Baits reel, you feel unstoppable. Really, if I were to encapsulate what Baits fishing really is to me, it's just one of those brands that has great leadership, great engineering, a super passionate group of guys that work there that allow pro staffers like myself to have an incredible amount of input, which makes the future very exciting for someone like me at this point in my career, because I have a lot of influence there to direct them on, like, you know, this fishery needs this and this region needs that. And it makes me feel good. Plus the fact that these guys, I mean, they're 100% Go USA, American made stuff. They have an exciting brand. They really do. And they make everything I could ever need to accomplish, well, my mission on a day-to-day basis.